Nowadays, mobile phones have become an indispensable part of our life. We use phones to communicate, to study, to entertain ourselves, and so on. Besides, it seems that we don't want to waste any second to spend time on our smartphones, including while working or driving. However, do you think using smartphone while working or driving is doable?
Findings from National Kinshiwa University suggest that distracted walking caused by smartphone use did slow down the pedestrians, limit his or her visual attention, and impair the stability of walking. Additionally, a report offered by Ryukyu University showed a high risk of accidents among pedestrians who are using cell phones, especially for those who are playing games with a smartphone. What's more, according to our survey, which involves 49 respondents, the result showed that less than 1/5 of them never use smartphones while walking or driving. And nearly half respondents had met sudden unexpected situations when they are using smartphones. In addition, 4/5 also of them had noticed others meeting accidents as they using phones on street. But over 80% of them did not support using phones while walking or driving. And about 3/4 of respondents thought it is possible or highly possible incurring an accident under this situation.
Therefore, we designed an experiment to know different types of apps' influence on people's reaction time, and steps are: firstly, ask the volunteers to play the reaction time game with their right hand. They have to follow on-screen instructions and tap the screen when the screen's color changes. Secondly, repeat the test. This time, ask the test volunteers to speak to someone on a cell phone while we conduct the experiment. Finally, repeat the test. This time, ask the volunteers to send a text message with the left hand while we conduct the experiment. And each volunteer on each test performed 5 trials, and we calculate the average time. Then we compare 3 results of the mean and the standard deviation.
Our result shows that when our volunteers focus on the game, their mean reaction time is 0.3317, with a standard deviation 0.375. And when they simultaneously test themselves and spoke to someone, the mean is 0.3940, and the standard deviation is 0.0598. When they test themselves and text, the mean becomes 0.6653 and the standard deviation is 0.1436. You may get nothing from those unfriendly numbers, so we construct 3 normal distribution modes and combine them so that you can see it clearly.
Therefore, we get conclusion. Speaking to each other as well as texting does lessen people's reaction times. And compared with the influence of phoning, the impact caused by the texting is conspicuously larger. Besides, the instabilities of 3 tests, which is reflected by the standard deviation, differ from one another as well. So why does this occasion happen? According to a specialized in cognition and cognitive neuroscience, Daniel, in fact, our brain never multitasks but switch from one task to another with an extraordinary speed. In the first task, we concentrate only on one screen, so our brains have just one task. Although different volunteers may have different reaction times, this difference is relatively slight. However, in the second test, the brain controller switches back and forth from the hearing center to the visual center. But as 2 receptors, eyes and ears are working simultaneously. Once the color change happens, the controller will immediately switch and react, so the mean reaction time and the standard deviation are in the middle. And in the third test, Besides the time for brain to switch tasks, it also takes time for our eyes to switch back and forth between two screens. You may luckily focus on the task phone, but you also may concentrate on texting the message.
To avoid accidents, my dear audiences, please remember, when you are walking or driving, do not distract by a mobile phone. Our safety is first, so texting can wait. Thanks for watching it. See ya.